I'm sad to say the Australian television industry died on Monday the 22nd of September 2025 at 1 p.m, just 1 year short of its 70th anniversary. It brought us plenty of laughs, informed us, and was even sometimes controversial. But like the dodo, its time is up. That is the only conclusion I can come up with after the pile of shit that viewers were served up Monday on Channel 7. Jesus Christ. Hello, I'm Rob McKnight and I'm in mourning. With over 30 years' experience in the media industry, this is episode 11 of Media McKnight. Daytime television in Australia was once the home of innovation, variety and compelling viewing. From the midday show to Beauty and the Beast, Good Morning Australia, The Morning Show, Studio 10, I'd like to think, and various other formats, it's been a place where viewers have been entertained and informed. On Monday, 7 launched the newest addition to that staple of shows.
Welcome to your new look afternoons. I couldn't be happier to be joining you every day, Monday to Friday, for a fantastic new adventure together.
7's winning Arvo takes all that rich history, flushes it down the toilet, and has served up the biggest pile of horse manure I've ever seen. Honestly, you'll need a peg on your nose to watch it because the stench is so bad. It's a mixture of short hosting segments with viewer giveaways, but most of the 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. time slot is filled with British game shows. Alex Cullen does a fine job trying to bring the mismatched format to life, but the transition from serious news to light giveaways are just bizarre. The Tipping Point rip-off game takes itself too seriously despite the low-budget prop. And a note to producers, when you have 3 drop zones, it's best to go from camera left to right, not right to left from the viewpoint of the production person putting the counter in. It's not the same as viewer's perspective.
Let's do it right now. Section 1, 2 or 3, Heather?
3.
Let's do it. Number 3. Let's drop it down. Coin drop. Here we go. $100.
And speaking of the poor production person standing behind the counter game, the best moment for me was a mistake when their hand was clearly visible. I'd be playing that up and making the person a star. Think Peter, the fandom puller from Graham Kennedy's Blankety Blanks. That's the kind of thing this show needs. This from 7's press release announcing Alex Cullen coming back to the network. We look forward to sharing more details about his new role as we finalise content. 7's head of news, Ray Cooker, recently said when Cullen was announced as host, "This is about getting it right for the network and for Alex's bright future with 7. That was 2 months ago. Imagine if they'd rushed this turd through. A rival network executive didn't hold back when speaking to TV Black Box's Carl Laidlaw about the launch. Winning Arvo is a train wreck. It's a lazy mashup of bargain bin quiz shows and shallow news updates that insult the audience's intelligence. The tone is all over the place, the execution is sloppy, and the whole thing reeks of desperation." Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Honestly, most producers could have had this atrocity ready within a week, a couple of days even. And this is supposed to be a well thought out afternoon of content? If this is the best we can do in 2025, then this is the moment Australian TV has jumped the shark. It's time to pack up your belongings and switch off the lights. There's obviously no creativity left. There's no money, so why bother? And people wonder why viewers are leaving the medium for other content. Essentially, this is what we need to do. Just turn off the lights. Yeah, that'll win me some friends. All right, there's been a lot of chatter about Sky News' obsession with 22-year-old Freya Leach, who was recently given her own show, Freya Fires Up. But it hasn't taken long for her lack of experience to create a PR nightmare for the outlet after a guest appeared with bacon draped over his shirt and told the host it was to protect him from terrorists as he made further Islamophobic comments before being cut off. Have a look at what Callum Jaspin from 9 Newspapers had to say.
Now, there's some confusion as to why the guest was invited onto the new Sky show in the first place. He's from Scotland, his name is Ryan Williams, and he bills himself online as a cellist and trance music producer. He was invited on to talk about Charlie Kirk, but proceeded to go on an anti-Islam tirade. The interview was pulled from the show after just a few minutes.
During his interview, Williams appeared to laugh while explaining why he was wearing bacon.
Well, I mean, the reason I've got bacon on my shoulders is because the terrorists are a charming lot and they threaten to behead me every single day. So a little bit of protection.
Now, the interview was cut short, presumably as ordered by the producer in the control room, and shortly after, a seemingly nervous Leach offered a strange apology, a very short apology, admitting she had been told to deliver it.
Been told we do have to apologise for what was just aired, those comments earlier, but we're going to continue now with our interview with Joey.
But what's worth noting, it wasn't a last-minute decision by Williams to wear the bacon. In fact, in a video posted to his social media account, you can see him walking around the Sky News studio wearing it, even while the audio assistant was miking him up.
Strangely not the weirdest thing I've done in this job.
No, it's just everyday Sky News Perth.
As for Leach, her inexperience was exposed for all to see in the terrible way she handled the situation. Looking like a deer in the headlights, the young star showed she isn't ready to be hosting a show of this nature at this stage in her career. Sky News has apologised unreservedly for the offensive comments made by Williams on Sunday. These remarks were wholly inappropriate and unacceptable and have no place on our network. The guests responsible should never have appeared, a spokesperson told the SMH. He was specifically asked for his reaction to the Charlie Kirk assassination and its fallout, but instead used our platform to spread his harmful views. We recognise the harm such rhetoric can cause and take full responsibility for this failure in our editorial processes. Good on Sky, that is a very good response. An immediate review has been launched into Leach's program. The review will look at its guest booking and vetting procedures to prevent a similar incident occurring again. Presumably, the best solution would be to rip this show off the air. She might have a big future, but she's just not ready for the big time yet. Well, what a week it's been for Jimmy Kimmel. The late-night US TV host has made global headlines over comments relating to the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk. You can see my breakdown of the timeline of events as I separate fact from fiction regarding this story on the McKnight Tonight YouTube page. But here's a sample.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
After the comments went to air on Monday night by Kimmel, I mentioned MAGAland went into meltdown. But here's where it all started ramping up. Brendan Carr, the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, went onto a podcast and issued a chilling threat.
But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
So, we've had the FCC chairman make that threatening response. And according to the reporting by Oliver Darcy on the Status website, Carr's appearance set off an immediate cascade of events inside ABC. According to people familiar with the matter, the network held a series of emergency meetings to discuss how to respond. Kimmel wanted to address the situation on his program Wednesday night. In fact, I'm told that he had even written a script about how he could respond to the controversy, but ultimately Disney brass wasn't comfortable with it. And then things came to a head when ABC affiliate Nexstar issued a statement saying they would take Kimmel off the air. President of Nexstar's broadcasting division, Andrew Alford, said, Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse, and we do not believe they reflect the spectrum of opinions, views, or values of the local communities in which we are located. Continuing to give Mr. Kimmel a broadcast platform in the communities we serve is simply not in the public interest at the current time, and we have made the difficult decision to preempt his show in an effort to let cooler heads prevail as we move toward the resumption of respectful, constructive dialogue. Very clever man. Kimmel will be returning to television Tuesday night US time, that's Wednesday here in Australia. It's less than a week after he was taken off the air indefinitely. Last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country, Disney said in a statement. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. ABC America affiliate Sinclair has announced they won't be airing the show on their stations. What is clear is Kimmel was not removed because of his ratings. While the Trump administration are correct that they did not remove him, they certainly applied enough pressure to make it happen. The comments made by Kimmel, they have been twisted, although he was wrong to suggest the alleged shooter was MAGA. Reports suggest Kimmel's contract with Disney allows him to say whatever he wants, except for 7 banned words. But that is to meet broadcast standards. That being the case, Disney would have no legal case for taking him off the air. To me, the biggest loser out of all this is Bob Iger. This is the second time the Disney CEO has capitulated to the Trump administration, and he's now facing a major backlash from the creative community. Talent need to feel protected in times of crisis, but Iger has shown there is no loyalty when it comes to the bottom line. TV and radio presenter Mel Doyle is riding high after it was announced she will be hosting Oprah Winfrey's Australian speaking tour in December. I spoke to Mel on Monday night's edition of McKnight Tonight about the role.
I am so excited. I feel like the inner 15-year-old wannabe journalist is still squealing. It's such an honour. So she's doing an In Conversations tour around the country. We've got 4 venues and I'm on stage asking her questions. So I'm a mixture of absolute excitement and I'm sure at the last minute what will be complete fear because, hey, interviewing the goddess of interviewing, but I'm just thrilled. It's going to be fantastic. She's an icon. She's a media icon, a cultural icon. So just to spend any time with her, I'm pretty damn excited.
Indeed. But things didn't quite get off to the start Mel was hoping for when she first met Oprah as part of an arranged Zoom call. There was just one little problem. Mel thought it was a phone call and wasn't dressed for the occasion.
All right. So between you and I thought it was a phone call. I knew we were having a phone call at like 10 and then someone rang me at about 45 minutes beforehand and said, just giving you a heads up. I don't know whether you know, but she wants to do a Zoom chat. And I was like, shit. I was in my dog walking clothes, cap on, hadn't washed my hair. So the poor dog had to wait. Bolted to the shower, did the whole quickly wash my hair, put some makeup on, dress nicely from the top half and chat to Oprah. And then take
I love that idea that you're all class up top, you got the tracky jacks on below.
Yeah. Well, dog walking gear. So I reckon I was all dolled up for the park, but that's okay.
It must have been quite a sight. It comes as Mel returns to television Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. on 7 and 7 Plus as co-host of House of Wellness. You can see the entire interview with Mel on the McKnight Tonight YouTube page. There is plenty of great insights. Gotta love her. Fans of Doctor Who might have noticed they can no longer watch their favourite Time Lord in Australia, bar the episodes made as a co-production with Disney+. The classic series, 1963 to 1989, has always been hit and miss on streaming services here, but the 2005 reboot has been widely available until recently. Now, those episodes are no longer available here, and it's an important lesson on why consumers shouldn't throw away their DVDs. While it was assumed we would be able to watch all of our favourite shows on many streaming services in this country, this has been a stark reminder of how TV shows and movies can be taken away at a moment's notice. Our licensing agreements for Doctor Who seasons 1 to 3 across all markets outside the UK and Ireland have come to an end. A BBC spokesperson confirmed to Media McKnight, offering little comfort for fans. While the content will no longer be available to stream for a period of time, fans can continue to purchase episodes via EST and DVD, and select titles will remain accessible through educational and library partnerships. We look forward to sharing more about where the catalogue will be available next in due course. I certainly hope it's soon. I miss my Doctor Who. But it's not just licensing agreements that can force TV shows off streaming services. Now, if a show doesn't generate enough streams, those shows might be deleted due to the cost of hosting them. That means little-known shows and gems will disappear forever. It's a sad state of affairs that could see DVD sales start to rise again. So pull them out of the cupboard, put them back on the shelf, you're going to be using them. Channel 10 has announced Rebecca Gibney as the host of the long-rumoured reboot of Millionaire Hot Seat. But the announcement has led to something of a quandary for the beleaguered network. When 10 axed the project for the No Frills 10 News Plus, they moved Deal or No Deal from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m, assuming the show would fail to draw an audience. Planning on this outcome, the network started working on bringing back Millionaire Hot Seat. As reported by Kevin Perry at TV Black Box, sources within the show's production company have told TV Black Box no new episodes of Deal or No Deal have been commissioned for 2026 at this stage. The show looked dead, but something strange happened. It actually rated. As 10 News Plus sunk to new lows, Deal or No Deal continued to build, putting 10 in the position of axing the one show they have in their arsenal that's actually showing positive signs. Now panic is brewing as executives realise it would be silly, yes it would be, to drop the Grant Denyer hosted program, and plans are being drawn up to include Deal or No Deal in the 2026 lineup. What this means for 10 News Plus remains unclear. The show is cheap. It covers its costs. But can 10 afford to throw away Deal? Millionaire Hot Seat looks set to go at 7 p.m, but now insiders think Deal or No Deal could be set for a 6:30 p.m. slot, with 10 News Plus dropping back to 30 minutes. That would certainly take some pressure off the production crew who are trying to fill 60 minutes 6 nights a week with very limited resources. Watch this space. I received an interesting phone call this week asking if it was me being referenced in an article about 4BC being on the hunt for leaks. Apparently, the radio station is looking for a leaker who exposed embarrassing listener texts about breakfast host Peter Fegan. There's no doubt Fegan has had challenges in terms of ratings, but from what I hear, he gets in early and has given everything to making the show work. Personally, I think it's the wrong format for Brisbane. I believe listeners in Queensland would prefer a show more along the lines of 3AW's Russ and Ross, rather than a Ben Fordham 2GB clone. But anyway, according to one insider, by process of elimination, it all narrows down to one person, with claims that internal disputes and long-running grievances have fueled the flow of information. Others within the industry point the finger elsewhere, suggesting the leak may have come through former colleagues with close ties to current presenters, the article states. Well, I certainly do fall into that category. As it's well known, I worked at 4BC, I have friends there, including on-air presenters. But let me be very clear. I'll even state it on the record. I am not the leaker. I have not been releasing information about Peter Fegan or any other 4BC show. If I have something to say, I will say it right here on Media McKnight. And anyone who knows me should know that. And here's a little tip for you. As someone who gets leaked information, it's never who you think it is. It's never the person that seems to be the culprit. It's always the one who flies under the radar. There was a really nice moment on 9 News in Queensland last week when newly installed co-presenter Joel Dry had to do a live cross to his wife, Jessica Millward, who's serving as Nine's European correspondent. Have a look at this.
Europe correspondent Jessica Millward is at Windsor Castle for us tonight. Good evening to you, Jessica. We've seen some arrests already.
Evening, Joel. That's right. 4 people have been arrested.
I don't know. It tickled my fancy. I really enjoyed the knowing smiles as Dry started the exchange with absolute professionalism. But gee, both must have been thinking how surreal the moment was with him in Brisbane and her in London. Sometimes there are good moments in television. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Media McKnight. I really hope I'm wrong and that atrocity on Channel 7 isn't the end of television as we know it. But I do fear this is the future. Cheap shows with no creativity. Anyway, Media McKnight streams every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and McKnight Tonight is live with a different take on the news of the day at 9 p.m. every Monday, Wednesday and Thursday at youtube.com/@McKnightTonight. We do it right here in my garage. Look what we're doing here. God, and I have no budget. I'm Rob McKnight. Support independent media. I hope to see you again. Until then, cheers.